much, John. There are some spare Trailblazers sheets that Giles has got with some pens. So if you want one, feel free just to grab one, and you can fill it out as we go along. But do keep Romans 8 in front of you. We're only actually looking at the last 3 verses 28 to 30. So have those open so you can follow this through, because there's so much going on here. And a lot of what we're doing actually is going to be answering one of the big questions that people have about Christianity. When people come to you with questions, I guarantee one of the biggest people have is on the topic of suffering. Suffering is always near the top of the list because, I guess, everybody at some point suffers. So this is something that affects everybody, isn't it? Why is this happening to me is one of the questions people might ask. Why am I going through suffering? Or they might look at some of the stuff across the world that John's been praying for and say, why is this happening to our brothers and sisters across the world? Where is God in this situation? Globally, or maybe just in my situation, is God here? Is God in control here? What should I do? What good can possibly come out of this situation? I knew somebody who used to tell, it's a really awful story about a friend of theirs. They used to tell this story and they'd say that a friend of theirs was walking through some woodland with their small children. And as they were walking, one of the people in front, completely by accident, let one of the branches fly of a thorn bush. And this thorny branch flung back and hit their child in the face. And completely accidental. But they were permanently blinded because of that. And he'd tell that story and he'd say, where's God in this? You know, this is an awful, awful situation. This is suffering. And you tell me there's a God who's loving. You tell me there's a God who's sovereign. But my friend's child is blind. It's a really hard question, isn't it? It's a really difficult topic to talk through because it's a very sensitive topic as well. And undoubtedly, you'll have questions of your own situations. And one of the things that makes this topic even harder is that when it comes to suffering, there is just so much we don't know. There is so much the Bible just doesn't give us answers to. We don't always get the answer that we want. And yet, there are some really important things the Bible says we can know and we should know in suffering. When it comes to suffering, there are things we can know for certain. And if we know these things, it will change how we view suffering. So Paul gives us 2 here in Romans. 2 things, notice, that he expects us to know. He starts with, we know this. That's the question, isn't it? Do we know this? Romans 8:28. And we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. Do we know that? We're going to look at the 2 aspects of that. God's work in you and God's purpose for you. God's work in you and God's purpose for you. And so the first thing that we should know, Paul says, do you know, or you should know, is this, is God is at work in you. God's at work. God works in the lives of believers. Next year, I'm hoping that we get to do a series in the book of Esther. It's an incredible book, and I recommend that you go and you read the whole thing, sort of just in one sitting, just to get prepared for this. It's an amazing book. And if you go and read it, one of the things you'll discover as you're reading it is God is not mentioned in it. You will not see God clearly in the book of Esther. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? It's a book of the Bible. But God is not mentioned. There is no mention of prayer. There's no mention of miracles. There's no mention of, any supernatural events. In fact, there's almost no religious language in the whole book whatsoever. It's crazy, isn't it? It's a story of the Bible where we don't immediately see God. It's a book about people. It's a book about problems. It's a book about seemingly random events. And I love that. I love that about it, because that's real life, isn't it? That's what we see when we look at the world around us. We go about our everyday life, and we just don't see God in it. We don't see the miracles. We don't see clear displays of power. We don't have clear voices from heaven. We go out into Hartford, and we have people, and we have problems, and we have just real life events, don't we? And God sometimes just doesn't seem to show up in our everyday life. But then you read this book of Esther, and you read about the suffering of God's people, and what you discover is that under the surface, God is at work powerfully. Powerfully at work. Even more so in the everyday than necessarily in things like burning bushes and plagues. You see that everything falls under his sovereign power. And in that story, God saves his people from extinction, but he doesn't do it with parting seas and dramatic plagues. He does it with things like a dodgy marriage and a sleepless night, and people who just happen to be in the right place at the right time. Normal, everyday things, but God is at work. You see what it says in Romans. It says God is at work in all things. All things, even the smallest detail of your life, or even in the biggest problem of your life, even in your suffering. Even in your suffering, God is at work. It's not that God's absent, it's just we can't immediately see him. But one day, you will. One day, you'll be able to step back and see this sort of beautiful plan that God has for you in your life. In fact, that's what Paul wants us to begin to do today. This passage, I think, is supposed to force us to step back and look at this amazing plan God has for you. Whatever situation you're in, do we know God is at work? And notice, not only is God at work, even in suffering, but it says it's always for our good. Do we know that? As you suffer, do you know with certainty God is at work, and he's at work for good? Esther's an amazing story, but the whole Bible is a treasure trove of examples where God is at work for good. One of the famous is Joseph. Many of you know the story of Joseph. He's part of this large family, well, a dysfunctional family, really. And he gets sort of attacked by his brothers, trafficked into a far-off country, wrongly accused of sexual abuse, thrown into prison. He goes through this life of suffering. And at the end of it all, he meets his brothers again. And what does he say to his brothers? As for you, you meant evil against me, but God meant it for good. God is at work for good in all things. And that means even in suffering. There's a massive question here, though, isn't there? Because what do you mean by good? What does that mean? What is the good? Because the suffering isn't good. That's not the good thing that God is doing. I think that's why we can find some of these Old Testament examples quite hard when we read them, because at the end of them all, a lot of the time, the people end up in places of power, or they end up rich or successful and happy. And you think, well, is that the good? Is that what God promises me? No, God never promises that kind of good. It didn't say that God's not working in all things for our comfort or for our convenience. God's not working in all things in order that we might have an easy life or a nicer house or a good job. So what is it? What's What's the good? Let's read that verse again. It says, we know that for those who love God, all things work together for good, for those who are called according to his purpose. See, God has a purpose for you. That's the good he's doing. He's achieving his purpose for you. It's an amazing thought, that. Did you know God has a purpose for you? This is one of the questions that I often get asked is what is God's purpose? What does God want for me? Does God have a purpose for me? Yes. This is it. This is God's purpose for you, and you're supposed to know this. This is it. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, in order that he might be the firstborn among many brothers. And those whom he predestined, he also called. And those whom he called, he also justified. And those whom he justifies, he also glorified. That's God's purpose for you. That's the good which he is working all things out towards. It's a wonderful thing. This is the good here. We're just going to go through those just bit by bit because his purpose for you is extraordinary, isn't it? It's amazing stuff. In suffering, God's working through all things, including suffering, and he's got this purpose for you. This is what he's working towards, God's purpose for you. And there's 5 steps to this. Firstly, he foreknew you. He foreknew you. He knew you. This is one of the words in this list that I think people misunderstand the most. This knowing. This knowing. What does it mean that God knew you? What it doesn't mean is that he just knew who would become a Christian. It's not some knowledge thing that God knows everything, therefore he knew who would be saved. It's not that. It can't be that. Because otherwise he would have foreknown non-Christians too. Because he knows everything. So he would have known who wasn't saved. No, but notice this foreknowing, whatever it is, it's something that happens only to believers. God only foreknows believers, Christians. It's exclusive to people who are saved. See, knowing somebody in the Bible, it's choosing them. It's choosing them. To know you means to choose you. You can see this if you go right back to the beginning. Genesis chapter 4 tells you about Adam and Eve. You can read it later. Flick through it. It says that Adam knew his wife and she conceived. He knew her and she got pregnant. It's more than a knowledge, isn't it? And then again it says he knew her and she conceived again. And then chapter 4 verse 25, and Adam knew his wife again. This isn't just knowledge. Adam's not forgotten who his wife is. This is him choosing her. To love her exclusively, intimately. This is a relationship. He knows her so intimately, they end up having babies. That's how intimately he knows her. I choose you, Eve. Imagine you were to chat to Fayaz, however long ago it was, just before you proposed. How long ago was that now? 5 months ago. If you were to chat to Fayaz 5 months ago, just before he proposes, okay? And if you were to ask him in that moment, who would you like to marry? Well, he knows, doesn't he? He knows it's Miriam. This is the woman I choose. I choose her out of every other woman that I know. I knew she was the one. And I will know nobody else in the same way. I'm going to know her specially. That's the knowing. That's the foreknowing. God foreknew you. He chose you for marriage, for relationship, for intimacy with him, to be his beloved. he foreknew you. And then secondly, those he foreknew, he predestined, it says. You have been predestined. So basically, this choosing, it happened a long time ago. It happened an awful long time ago. God chooses you. He sets his affection on you, but this isn't a spur-in-the-moment thing. This is something he decided beforehand. That's what the word means. See, when you became a Christian, a decision was made. You decided to follow Jesus, but only because God decided first. There's been a theme all the way through Romans, hasn't it? You know, here are people who are dead. Here are people who are blind and deaf, people that can't choose God, people who don't want to choose God, people who are dead in their sin, and God decides to save this people. He takes the initiative. And it's wonderful news, isn't it? Because your salvation, it's not rooted in you, it's rooted in him. It's because of him. And because it's his decision to save you, you can consider yourself truly saved. And look, in this passage, we get a glimpse here of what you are predestined for, what you are chosen for, because it says you're predestined for something. For those whom he foreknew, he also predestined to be conformed to the image of his Son, in order that he might be the firstborn among many brothers. Some of you will know I was born in Wrexham and then grew up not too far away from there. And many of you will know that Wrexham, the football club, was recently taken over by some sort of Hollywood and TV celebrities. So Ryan Reynolds and Rob McElhenney bought this club and then basically wanted to transform it. Now, I'm not going to bore the non-football fans with details, but I think most people can appreciate the journey that this small town has gone on over the last 4 years. I mean, for a start, it's not a town anymore, it's a city now, but this new city has gone on this incredible journey over the last 4 years or so. But it's really interesting, if you listen to interviews, they'll say there were 4 or 5 clubs that we were looking into before they settled on choosing Wrexham. They had this short list of what they were looking for. And one of the reasons they chose this town and this club, if you listen to why, is they said that this is a town, this is a community that's fallen on really hard times. This is a town that loves its football, but the football is dying. In fact, it was about to die, they discovered when they looked at sort of the money that it had and the money it was taking in. And they said, we want to choose this club because we want to take this thing that's dying and we want to take it somewhere incredible. We want to take it on this journey. We want to take it right to the top. We want to take it to the Premier League. We want to take it to trophies and success and glory. We want to transform this thing that's dying and make it something good for the town, for the people, for the community. See, they chose it to take it somewhere. You know, they could have just bought it and left it. They could have chosen it and then just done nothing with it, just left it exactly where it was. But they chose it with this amazing destination in mind. The same is true for you. You've been chosen with this incredible destination in mind. You've been chosen not just to be left alone so you can carry on doing your own thing, but to go on this journey from death to glory. Chosen to become like Christ, to become a brother and sister of Jesus, to be in his image, to be a child of God. That's what you're chosen for. Predestined for glory. And it's all rooted in the work of Christ. It's all his work. This is God's doing in you. And so thirdly, you're called. So you're chosen with this incredible future in mind, and then he calls you to it. He calls you to it. So I guess this is the bit for Fires where he actually gets down on the one knee. This is the bit where he's chosen. I don't know if you actually did that. Did you go on one knee? You didn't go on one knee. Oh, no. Well, I'm going to carry on using it as an example because the other guys were still waiting for them. So this is the bit where you get down on one knee because you've chosen this person. This is the person I want to know. This is the person I want to spend my life with. And now, well, it's all well and good doing all that, isn't it? You've got to say yes, haven't they? This is the bit where you actually call them to it. Here's this future life I want with you. Now he's going to call her to it. And I don't think there was much doubt in his mind what she was going to say. But when God calls, the answer is always yes. And you have to get this about when God calls you. God's call is always effective. God's call, it doesn't fall on deaf ears. In fact, when God calls, the deaf ears are opened. Such is the power and authority and effectiveness and love of God. You can look at the life of Jesus. Jesus opens the eyes of the blind. He opens the ears of the deaf. He raises the dead to life. It's this voice of authority. When he calls you, you come. God of the universe is calling you to be who you're supposed to be, to enter this loving relationship with him. The God of the universe. I mean, just think. This is the God that when he spoke and said, let there be light, light just came into being. There's no doubt about whether light was going to appear because God spoke. And that's what happens in the lives of people, in the lives of believers. God speaks and says, let there be life in you. And there is life. His call will open blind hearts. It raises dead people to life, people who are dead in their sins, people who wouldn't choose God, people who couldn't choose God. God chooses them and calls them and sets his spirit in them. Do you remember that? We did that a couple of weeks ago. God sets his spirit in you, and this spirit brings you to new life, into this new mindset, this new way of thinking. So now you can choose God. Now you can love him. But only because he called you first. He chose you and called you to it. This incredible life. So he foreknew you. He predestined and called you. But also we see God transforms you. God gets to work on you by his Spirit. He justifies you. You're justified. It's one of the major points Paul's been reinforcing all the way through Romans, actually. You know, go back and read it. It's absolutely fantastic. We have time to re-look at it all now, but this little section here is just building on what's already come. You're justified. You've been made righteous. Jesus on the cross, he takes your sin. Your sin is removed, and you receive his rightness with God. God takes this unrighteous person, this person who's dead in their sin, and gives them the righteousness of Jesus, this incredible life. And it's all a gift. See, this is the good. This is the good that God is doing in you. In all things, even in suffering, this is what God is doing in your life. And it's simply from trusting in Jesus. And perhaps, this afternoon you wouldn't call yourself a Christian. But just look at verse 28 again. All this work that God is doing, all this amazing stuff God is doing in all things, working for good. It's in the lives of those who love him. It's in the lives of those who trust in Jesus. And maybe you're listening in and you're hearing some of these incredible things about how Christians can have great hope in suffering. Well, do you know that you can have that too? You can have all this amazing work in your life because nobody earns it. No Christians earned it. It's all a gift. All you have to do is trust in Jesus. And look what awaits those who do trust in Jesus. This is the fifth thing. Glory. He glorifies you, it says. Glory is all the way through this chapter. It's a section on suffering, but actually it's a section about glory. You are to be in glory one day. I mean, actually, you're to be glory one day. I mentioned this already. This is the destination that you're going to. But notice, it's not just some future thing. It's not something that means nothing to the here and now that doesn't help me today. Just look at the tense here. This incredible section, these two verses. But notice, it's all in the past tense. Do you see that? You have been justified, glorified. Why can Paul speak in past tense here? Well, because that's how certain it is. That's how certain this is. It's so certain, you can talk about it like it's already happened. You can talk about it in the past tense. Your justification, your glorification are so certain, you can act like it's already happened. This is a famous section, these five things. People often call it the golden chain. This unbreakable chain, because each word is like a link in that chain, and they all attach together. Because if you've been foreknown, then you will be glorified one day. It's going to happen, because it's this unbreakable chain. People don't get lost along the way. Everybody's foreknown will be glorified one day. It's like this chain that's been dropped down out of heaven and fixes itself to you, and so you're now attached to glory. That's where you're going. Nothing can stop that. Nothing can break that. It's this unbreakable chain. A friend of the family used to work for Air-Sea Rescue in Anglesey. And I remember going to the airfield, and we got to get shown around this really cool yellow helicopter. And one of the best things about this helicopter is the winch. The winch was fantastic. It's an amazing thing, the winch and the harness on the side of the helicopter. Because what he used to do is he used to go out at night often into storms and drop down to the sea and rescue people. That's what he used to do. And I want you to just picture that for a second. Imagine that's you. Imagine you're drowning. Imagine you're in that sort of freezing cold water in the middle of a storm, and the waves are smashing against you. You're exhausted. You're drowning. You don't think you can keep the energy up to stay afloat. And then this light appears. This yellow helicopter appears above you, and this man starts to descend. He gets closer and closer until he reaches you, and he grabs you, and he attaches this harness and wire to you. At that moment, I wonder how you feel. Because you're still in the water. You're still being pummeled by the spray and the waves, and the exhaustion is still there. But you're attached to safety, aren't you? You're saved. You're attached by this unbreakable wire. You know where you're going. You know you're going to your salvation. And so right now in your life, as a Christian, you might be feeling like you're still in the water. You might be feeling like you're still in this storm. You might be feeling exhausted, like you're barely able to stay afloat with everything that's happening around you. But you've been saved. You're not there yet. You're not in glory yet, but you are attached. You're attached by this golden chain here. You've been chosen and grabbed and rescued. The harness has been fitted, and so this storm, it's not going to take your life. It's not going to be the end for you. Your destination is glory. That's where you're going. Because God has chosen you and predestined you and called you, and he's set his affection on you, and he's rescued you, and he's transforming you. And one day you'll be with him. That's God's purpose for you. That is the work that he's doing right now in all things, including suffering. This is the good that God has planned for you. We know that he is working through all things for the goods of those who love him. Let's respond by singing together of this amazing grace who saves sinners like us. Let's stand and sing.